Hey, hi. Debbie here with
hold on.
Mystery. Oh, hang on.
That's better.
Okay, we're back. Hi, it's Debbie with Mystery Quilts Anonymous, and we are going to make this quilt in one day. I'm going to close this curtain because it makes a big glare here, and it also fades my fabrics. As you can tell, it's another beautiful day in New Zealand. Let's just look at Clue 1. I gave it to you about 5 minutes ago, so you should be able to print it. As you can tell, I've marked along the side what I'm going to do because I'm actually making another quilt today. I've made one with the instructions, and I'm making one with you today. So we are going to cut these. I say use the easy angle to cut triangles here. I'm going to cut these both ways. Okay, should I be waiting for more people to jump online? Or shall I just keep going?
You can maybe give them a minute.
Okay, you know what? Let's just have a little chit chat.
I'm showing the instructions.
Hi, Sonia. I'm waving back to you. Hey, PJ. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Lori. Hi, Tina. Hi, Jennifer. I'm sorry if I missed anybody that scrolled off the top. Hey, Leslie. I got all those. You're not seeing me. That's because you're looking at the directions, because I was looking at you, because I was looking at the phone. You're going to have to tell me when somebody says hi.
Okay, I'll just tell you if there's any questions.
Okay, so I think what we're going to do first is we're going to cut some fabrics, and I'm going to cut. There was a lot of question yesterday with the cutting instructions on the 6 7/8 for the half square triangles, which, by the way, they are half square triangles. So we are going to cut. I'm going to show you both ways. So we'll cut one strip at 6 7/8, and I'll cut another strip at 6 1/2 and show you how to use the ruler, and show you how to use it, how to cut those and make those a 6-inch finished half square triangle when you don't have that ruler. The two squares we're going to be doing today, this square here is the second square we're doing, so it's on page 3 of your instructions. That's the actual center square of our quilt, so we're only going to be making one of those. These other guys that we're making, these attic windows here, if you are making the smaller version, I need for you to make 4 of these, 2 each way. I'm going to come in here and show you that we have them 2 different ways. We have the blue here and the purple here, and we have the purple here and the blue here. Pink's always going to stay. It's actually a very pretty lilac purple. It's not pink. Anyway, these need to be exactly like this. If you're making the small version, the 60-inch, you need 2 of these and 2 of these, but I've put the 2 in parentheses. The parentheses throughout are the parentheses throughout are for the smaller version. I've given you the larger version regular with no parentheses. The smaller version has the parentheses. So how many people we got on there?
45.
45. Shall we get started on the cutting?
Sure.
Season. All right. So let's get cutting. I will start. How about we start with those half square triangles? So I'm just going to cut some 6 1/2-inch squares and some. All right, I do have a video on YouTube on how to square up your fabrics. So go find that. I think it's called Straightening the Edge, or I forget. It's something like that, but it's on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and look for Mystery Quilts Anonymous, and you'll find it. Okay, straightening up my edge quickly. And when we do something that is bigger than I have a rubbish bin there, by the way. When I do something that's larger than my ruler, I don't know if you can zoom in there, I line up along the edge, and then I use my mat. One thing I want you to be sure of, though, is I want you to make sure that your mat and your ruler are the same. You would be surprised how many mats and rulers aren't on the same page. So then I come in here. This is my favorite ruler because it's the 1/2 inch is marked really clearly. So I'm going to come into the 1/2 inch mark on my ruler over here at 6.5. Line up along the bottom. And line up on the 6.5 mark. And away I go. All right, I'm going to use that one for the half square triangles using the ruler. Now this one I'm going to cut at 6 7/8. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm lining it up along the edge using my favorite ruler. Then I come into the 7/8 inch mark. You can see my 7/8 inch mark over here. So I'm barely inside that one, so I know that it's 6 7/8. Lining up along the bottom and along the 7/8 inch mark. And we're going to cut that one. All right, for those of you using the triangle ruler, we need to take off our selvage. We're going to make sure that's straight. I straighten up with my left hand so I don't have to move the fabric. If you're afraid to do that, then you're going to have to flip your fabric if you're right-handed. Okay, and my triangle ruler, I'm using the easy angle because it's big enough. If you have Bonnie Hunter's Essential Triangle Tool, I think that that one works just as well. I think it's actually very similar to this one. Because this is a 6.5 inch strip, it takes the whole triangle. So it's really, really easy. So we lay that right on there, lining up edge, bottom, and your little thing at the top should also line up. So we're going to just, I gotta warn you on this one. I'm sorry, this is funny, not funny. I did this one time and I had my finger over the edge. Now I have part of my finger missing. It was about 1.5 years ago, and I still can't feel the end of my finger. So please, please, please be careful how you hold your ruler. I like to hold on the bottom and on the side. I got my thumb holding the bottom and my finger holding the side so that my ruler doesn't move. Okay, once you've got that first one cut, you're gonna flip it. See how I got it like this? I'm just rotating, laying it back down, and cutting again. There's basically no waste along this 6.5 inch strip. Okay, I'm just gonna cut 2 more because I need 8, I believe. Now for this one, you have 2 options on cutting these halves. It's not the selvage. We have 2 options on cutting these. So let's go this way. Straighten up that edge. Set it on the line because it's bigger than my ruler. I could use a bigger ruler, but this is my favorite ruler. Okay, 6 7/8. Got it? Now, 2 options here are, first option, we can cut that right in half. Okay, corner to corner. Booyah. And have our triangles just like that. Or when they're this size, you can put it together. This would go with this color while I make it. So if I cut another square exactly the same size, I can flip this over. Actually, I would do it on the light, but you'll understand. And draw a line on the back, right on that line. then I would sew 1/4 of an inch away on either side. This saves, when you got it like this, it's on the bias. So if you pull and don't let your sewing machine feed dogs do the work, then you've got a wonky half square triangle. So if I don't have access to my ruler, I typically draw the line, because then it's easier to sew when it's actually connected, because it doesn't stretch as much, and you have a better half square triangle in the end. No matter which one of these you use, you have dog ears that you'll need to get rid of, and please always press toward the dark. On that second, on the second block on there, I have given you actual cutting. You have to cut them like this. Trust me on that, because I tried to use the no waste method, and they came out like 4 of them were right and 4 of them were backward. So please cut it first and lay them specifically out, because we need the medium on one side and the dark on the other to make that. We're making a Lemoyne star. We're making a Lemoyne star, but we're actually making that star with a pinwheel in the center. You can see the deconstructed block, the pinwheel in the center, and our flying geese around the outside. So that makes it easier to make the Lemoyne star than actually cutting the diamonds and doing it that way, because then you have set-in seams and all that kind of stuff, and I didn't want it to be that hard for us on a one-day project. Okay, now I'm going to let you fire away some questions or whatever, and I will explain what I can. Okay, so
No questions.
No questions. Wow, I must be good. Okay, let's see if we can find some pups. Well, y'all showed me all your pups this morning. This is our Bobbin. I showed her to you yesterday, but she's special because I got her and you all helped me name her. So she's actually one of us. Yes, you are. You're one of us.
They're asking if you're going to actually construct a block.
I am going to construct a block. Should I do that? Let's do that.
Was that going to be at 9?
Yep.
Okay.
Because clue 1 was at 9. So let's do that. Okay, let me see. I'll do the attic windows block because it's easier and faster. I can make a video of the other one, although it's pretty straightforward. So I have dark. Get these cut. Just give me a few seconds. Be patient. Y'all do your sewing or whatever you want to do.
So someone missed the beginning, but all you've done is cut these triangles, right?
Yeah. All I've done is cut the triangles. So if you need the triangles, after we're finished here, you can, this will be saved. This will be saved in the videos on the left hand. If you're on a computer, on the left hand sidebar. If you're on a mobile, it will be saved just under our picture at the top. There's a line that goes across, and you can scroll that across and you can find everything lined up across there. You should be able to find the video there.
It says, when doing the seams either side of the diagonal line to get 2 HSTs, what size square do you start with?
6 7/8.
Okay.
6 and 7/8 to start with.
It says, okay, so make with block cut 1.
Let me see. If you're making the big block, the big quilt, the 84-inch quilt, you will need. You will need 4 squares, which will turn into 8 half square triangles. If you're making the little one, you need 2 squares, which will turn into 4 half square triangles. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Spoiler alert, these are used in the corners. That's all I'm going to tell you. okay? So you need 4 or 8 of those, depending on what you're doing, which one you're doing. Straightening up this edge. And I'm going to get, okay, 6.5 inch strip. I'm going to actually use my easy angle to cut my half square triangles, just because I find it easy and it saves a bit of
What
fabric.
size is the little one?
What size is the little one? 60 inches.
Okay.
The smaller quilt is 60 inches. The larger quilt,
And have all the instructions been given?
only clue 1 and the cutting instructions have been given. Oh, and the fabric requirements. Fabric requirements, cutting instructions.
And what's the name of the quilt?
The name of the quilt is Picture Perfect.
And do I cut all the blocks 6.5, use 8 squares, and then cut 4 6.5s on the diagonal for triangles? I'm getting confused.
No. On the instructions, I'm going to zoom into the instructions in here. All right, the first thing you're going to do, let's just use our dark. Happens to be my black. Dark 6.5 inch strips. I need you to cut 2 strips. From those 2 strips, using your easy angle ruler, I need you to cut 8 triangles if you're making the large one, 4 if you're making the small one. In addition to those, I need you to cut 8 6.5 inch squares, or 4 if you're making the small one. However, if you don't have the triangle tool, you'll need to cut these squares here, 4 squares or 2 squares at 6 7/8, because these will become half square triangles.
Okay.
Those, laying this one out down here, this is 4 blocks. It's just a 4 patch. Your dark, light, medium, and then here's where those half square triangles are going to go. So it's 4, and the other one is the same. We're just going to rotate that, and it becomes this. So these need to be either 6.5 using the triangle tool, or 6 7/8 if you don't have the triangle tool and you're making half square triangles. The key is these need to finish, once they're in our quilt, they will finish at 6 inches. Today, or this morning when we finish them, after this clue, they need to be 6.5 before our seam allowance in the finished version.
So someone says with cut 1 being dark, medium, and light, and then a new block, light, medium, dark. So are there 6 colors?
No. I refer to your light, medium, and dark as light, medium, dark throughout the entire quilt. So when you cut the dark here, the black, when you cut this dark, it's going to be the same black. This is going to be the same cream for me, and this is going to be the same red for me.
Where can I get the rest of the instructions?
Clue
I only have fabric requirements and cutting instructions.
Clue 1 was just posted. You should be able to find it in files or announcements. It's actually posted in both, and I've pinned it to the top of announcements. So if you get in there, it should be the first thing you see.
Okay, and another one says, the width of your fabric looks smaller. I usually use 42 to 44.
This is, I've got it folded in half and in half. So this is actually folded in 4s. If I open it up to where it's folded in half, it is 44.
This one says, I got the instructions wrong. I ran out of fabric. I cut 2 strips, then cut HSTs out of leaving the strips. First mystery. I found cutting directions difficult. I'm 6 years quilting.
That I'm sorry for. I typically give you cutting instructions as we go. This was the first time I've ever given the cutting instructions first. So I didn't actually, because I usually give you pictures with the cutting instructions so you can see what we're doing. So it makes it a whole lot easier to understand, and for me, a whole lot easier to keep everything organized. So we cut and sew for clue 1, and then we'll cut and sew for clue 2. So don't give up, hang in there, and the other ones will be different and I think a bit easier. We're just trying to get this quilt done in one day. So let me keep cutting. You keep firing the questions away, and I'll try not to get too distracted. All right, 6.5. I'm just going to cut enough to do one block, and then I will cut and work in between the clues so that I can keep up with you. Okay. A couple of those. And I need a couple of one square, but I'll cut a couple. Oops, it's got to be on the edge. Half an inch. Ooh, that's off. Okay, I have one more square to cut, and then I will put this block together for us. Alright, so for this block we need one of these. One of these. Almost there, guys. These.
Is the ruler you're using called the Easy Angle Ruler?
It is called the Easy Angle Ruler. If you have Bonnie Hunter's, I believe it's called the Essential Triangle Tool. Can you see that easy angle?
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, so I need two of those. I'll take both of those and both of those because I'll make it both ways. And I need two of these. Oh, I just love this red. I don't know why, but I do. Yeah, I have to tell you all, when I let you choose, that was so much fun, by the way. I let you choose the fabric that I would be sewing mine with. So those are the ones pictured in the instructions. I had to jump way outside my box to sew with those, believe it or not. It was tricky, not my favorite colors, but wow, was that fun sewing in the colors that you chose. That whole day was fun, picking out fabrics with you, and wow, I'm sorry, I just had fun. You made my day. Okay, 6.5 inches here.
Someone says it makes sense now. Thank you. My visual self appreciates you.
You know what? I am a visual learner. I am also a teacher, retired. Oopsie. Whoa, please don't do that. I am also a teacher, retired, and I know that when I was teaching, my children learned in different ways, and I, too, am a visual learner. Visual and as well as textile. I need to, a kinetic learner. I need to touch it and do it to learn. So I try to show you every different way that I can. All right, I've got everything it takes here. Let's go to the machine. I'm sorry, I need to turn the machine on. Can you flip the bottom switch for the iron, please?
Over here?
Yes, sir. Oh, by the way, I want to say a big, big, big thank you to my husband, who is behind the camera. He is so supportive,
That's enough.
and I love that guy.
I'll hit stop.
Okay. All right. I sew.
It says, do you always use your cutting board to cut? Not necessarily rulers. It's all falling into place.
If I'm cutting a larger piece, I always use my mat and the ruler. They team each other. If I'm using a smaller cut, I always, if it's smaller than my ruler, I still always line up the bottom of the fabric on a line. It just helps me to keep everything more accurate and straight. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay. I've turned down the, I don't know if it's called turned down, but I shortened my stitch length. I don't know. Mine is a Janome, and I use the 1.8. It's a pretty small stitch length, so it helps keep it together better, I guess. Okay?
So they're asking,
Go ahead.
are you making two quilts? One to show us how to use the angle and all that, and one with the normal ruler.
No, I'm making one.
You already made one.
I'm making one quilt, but I'm going to show you both ways in the same quilt.
Okay, yeah, that answers the question.
And I did make one quilt yesterday for you. All right, let me just finish this up. All right, now I have two half square triangles here. These happen to be cut from the Easy Angle ruler. I'm just dog earing here. Then I'm going to go to the iron. I'm going to iron these back toward the dark. I'm going to show you how to lay these out. And how one little twist can make this look very different. All right, we are going to iron toward the, people want to know what my iron is. My iron is a Braun Textile 7. This is a New Zealand iron. I don't know where else you can get a Braun. My favorite iron so far, and oh, you have no idea of my iron trials, but this is my favorite so far. Okay.
I think Braun might be Australian.
It might be Australian. All right, back over here. All right, we're going to lay this out. I'm going to show you. There are the 3 squares that we had. And there is one block. Okay, you'll need 4 this way. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You need 4 this way. And you're going to need 4 this way. Okay, it makes a big difference. So you need 4, and then you need 4 of the opposite way. So I'm going to leave this laying here, and I'm going to lay it out again so you can see the difference. This one is always going to stay in the same position. Oopsie, laying the wrong way.
Someone said Braun is in Canada as well, so.
Oh, very cool.
Maybe.
I love that one. It is my favorite. Okay, so there There they are. You can see the difference. This has the light on the top, and this has the dark on the top, which actually isn't my light and dark. These should be your dark and medium, medium and dark. So you should have your dark on the top, medium on the side, medium on the top, dark on the side.
What's that?
This is your light.
Okay.
This square here is your light square. I know mine don't aesthetically look that way, but I promise you, those are my chosen. Light, medium, dark. Okay. I can actually put these together, give you guys a couple more minutes to look over those instructions and see if you have any more questions. So I'll get these put together quickly.
So for your quilt, the red is the light?
For my quilt, red is the light.
Okay, that's what somebody was asking. And
Yes.
the cream
Cream is the medium.
is the medium, and the
Black is the dark.
black is the dark.
I believe.
How can you cut without ironing first?
I usually don't. I usually iron first because I hate those non-straight lines that come with not ironed fabric. So what I'm going to do between now and noon is iron my fabric down. I just pulled those fabrics so I could do another one with you today because I had to sew mine in advance to get the instructions for you. So then I decided, I'll just make another one. So I just quickly pulled these fabrics.
Someone says I already cut all my blocks 6 and
6 1/2.
I don't know, Q/W. She didn't hit the right numbers.
Q/W. 6 1/2.
And I don't have the easy triangle. How do I get the right HST size?
All right, my suggestion is to use a very, very small, is that right? Dark. Yes, that's right. Use a very, very small, scant 1/4 of an inch when you make your half square triangles, very scant 1/4 of an inch. Then I would actually use, and this is the cheater's way, and please no quilt police. I would use starch or ironing aid or best press or something like that. And as you're ironing, stretch it out just a little bit. And then I would fudge and make it work. Keep the larger piece of fabric on the bottom and let your feed dogs pull it up. That's what I would do. For 4 of those, you could actually, because 4 of these are the outside borders, so if you're making the large one, actually, if you're making the small one, you could leave those and then cut these at 6. It's just going to make your quilt slightly smaller than mine.
Okay.
Because these half square triangles are only used in the outside. Oh, but in saying that, no, they really do have to be 6 1/2. Today, 6 finished inside the quilt. Yeah, stretch it as much as you can. If it doesn't work, let me think.
She says I'm good. I fudge all the time.
Oh, good. Then you're good.
How much yardage of each piece?
That is in fabric requirements. I know if you're making the small one, it's 2 yards of the dark, 1 1/4 of the medium, and 1 1/2 of the light. I'm pretty sure if you're making the other one, the large one, it's 3 1/4 of the dark. can't remember.
It's in the
after that.
fabric requirements.
But it is in the fabric requirements, which is in files and announcements. All right, here's another clue, trick. When I'm sewing these, it's easier and flatter to sew with my seam allowance this way. So this is flat. If I sew this way, there's a lot more bulk there. You can actually feel that bulk. When you lay it this way, it actually feels quite flat under your finger. So that will help you have a flatter seam there. So always try to keep your half square triangles, even flying geese, anything when there's a point at a corner like that, try to keep this flat instead of turned back on itself.
This video is about over, right?
This video is, we are done. I am just going to sew this seam. And between now and noon, which is when video 2 comes out, that's noon New Zealand time, New Year's Day. Happy New Year's, guys. I will get everything done for clue 1 that I need to do. And I will try to have clue 2 cut out so we can just sit and sew together. Okay, so before ironing, this is what we have. Okay. I'm going to iron these. If you guys have any last ditch questions,
Are you going to
them
explain the FG from page 2?
Flying geese from page 2. Yeah, I can do that. I can surely do that. I'm just going to throw those on the ironing board for now. All right, those flying geese from clue 2.
Page 2.
Page 2. Sorry, clue 1, page 2. This is how to do it with no ruler. Okay, it would be these measurements are for no special rulers. This one is going to be, this is the light down here in the picture is what appears to be pink. Okay, so it is this right here that I've cut on both diagonals. 1, 2, both diagonals. These here are my dark and medium cut on one diagonal. So now I have 4 triangles in my light and basically 4 triangles in my medium and dark. And here I have my 3.5 inch squares here that I cut. Okay. So we have, I've pulled one of these triangles off here, and it's here. My dark is on this side. This picture is quite dark when I printed it. Maybe it's just my printer. This is my dark, and this is my light. That's how they have to be placed. I'm going to show you why. This is my medium, this is my dark, and this is my light. They have to be placed that way to finish out your Lemoyne star.
Should I use my flying geese ruler?
If you have a flying geese ruler, absolutely. You want these flying geese. Actually, I'm going to take that back and say, if you can cut separately and sew separately, yes. You can't use the no waste method. Please trust me on that.
Okay, and then someone else says, is there only one star block?
There is only one star block. In either size, there's one star block.
It's the center.
It is the dead center of the quilt.
Okay.
Okay. That explains that when I go live at noon, I will have this made, and I can probably save one to make up then as well. I will also have clue 2 cut and ready. Okay?
When are you going to post clue 2?
Clue 2, I'll post clue 2 about 11:45 and then go live at 12. That'll give you time to read through and have your questions ready and even start sewing so we can just sit and sew together.
Okay.
Does that work for everyone? Hope so. All right, I will see you in about 2.5 hours or so. See ya. Bye.